Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
And we are back, man. Episode 372.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is an interesting conversation. I won't say that I've had with myself, but I was thinking about, because I guess this new segment is there anything interesting that you've seen this week?
Yeah.
And for me, it's the conversation about enjoying your paycheck.
Right.
And I think a lot of us, we go to these jobs, we work, even if you make a decent wage, sometimes you start to almost, I won't say punish yourself, but you tend to speak negatively about yourself for indulging a little bit, buying those extra pants, extra shoes, certain food items, whatever it is. And it's like, bro, you don't work all those fucking hours. You don't work that hard. And in some cases, some of us are risking our lives just to pay bills. You're more than a bill payer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So ladies, if you want to get your nails done and they cost $600, then fucking do it.
Right.
Okay, you want to get your hair done, then do it. Mm-hmm. Stop feeling guilty because you're doing something for yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you look back on your life, you need to say that you did something for yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you making bread like that and you wanted to get a Birkin bag, I don't even know what relevance that has. But if you want to buy one, then do it. Because it's a chance you might. The scariest part is you might not ever get to indulge or make that purchase. Mm-hmm. So do it. You want to buy those expensive ass Taylor Swift tickets or, Beyonce? You want to look like a Cowboy Carter? I've been seeing a lot of girls on my timeline looking like Cowboy Carter. I don't even know how to really explain what that looks like, but you know what I mean, guys. Mm-hmm. You know the girls when they get they get the boots. It's one girl, I will leave her nameless. Shout out to her because she did a good job on the boots. She bought a pair of solid white boots that had like a stitching in it. Mm-hmm. And then within the stitching, she took a bunch of these little crushed diamonds and she glued them into the stitching. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, you them is the Cowboy Carter 7s. That was hilarious. And she was like, ha. I was like, but it was dope though. It was creative.
Yeah.
And just by how she did it, I knew where she was going. Mm-hmm. But to make a long story short, folks, stop punishing yourself and acting like you got to save every fucking dime that you make.
Yeah.
That's just not realistic, man. You can save money. I think it's important to be financially responsible. But for Christ's sake, are you going to beat yourself down because you spent $75 on food for yourself,
right,
or you bought that $80 steak?
Yeah,
just cut it out. Get something for yourself and stop feeling bad about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being responsible, right? So when you have, you just got to know your finances and then know how much money you got coming in and how much money you got going out.
Right.
So if you're going to, let's say you get paid $3,000 a month, and you know that $1,500 is going to your bills, like your rent might be $1,000, and your Wi-Fi, your subscriptions, and everything else might be like $1,500. Also that you maybe spend another $300 on food or whatever. You just know that you got X amount of money to play with, like $1,200 to play with.
There you go.
And that's the biggest thing, because what tends to happen to a lot of people is that they just spend and spend and spend, and they just don't know how much money is going out. They don't really keep track of the amount of money in there. A lot of people are scared to look at their bank account,
which is dumb.
Yeah, so you got to know how much money you got, how much money is going out, and the necessary things that you need to keep a roof over your head and lights on and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then after that, you can like you say, you can treat yourself. You just don't want to do it, in a stupid way where you just spending, and then you got, the automatic payment of your PG&E or whatever, and then you just you just overdraft it after that. So you just want to. I think it's extremely important to take care of yourself, because you can like you said, keep saving, and you got holes in your shoe, or you ain't bought no new underwear for yourself in years, and things like that. I think it's just important to. It doesn't even have to be crazy. I know for me, one of my things is I'll buy myself some shoes every now and then. If I see some Jordans that came out on Nike.com or just some new Nikes that came out on the Nike app. I just go buy some shoes. That may be $200, but it's I got the money, and I'm not necessarily buying those shoes and then also not paying
there
a
you
bill.
Go. There you go.
I just do it.
You can fit the bill. I'm gonna tell you something too, and this is what I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired of hearing these very rich people that are the reason why you can't make wealth is because you're spending this much money on your coffee. You're spending this much money on this. You're spending this much, and I've noticed that a lot of rich people, they act like they're poor. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. You have you have security and you have a freaking chauffeur. Shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Regular people need to feel like they're human too. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem I have with some of these. I dropped my phone. I'm going to keep talking. Mm-hmm. That's the problem that I have sometimes with the Gary V. I love Gary V and other, some of these other guys, but for Christ's sake, man, stop letting these rich people tell you how to live your normal life. They don't live a normal life. Mm-hmm. They have luxuries within their life. Even if they walk around with regular looking clothes and a t-shirt, they got a yacht. Mm-hmm. They don't need a yacht. They have one. Mm-hmm. So what's your yacht? Mm-hmm. From a relative sense, what is your yacht? What is something that you can get for yourself where you can feel good, whether it's a pair of Jordans? Sometimes people's yachts, they so poor that their yacht is going to KFC and getting a bucket of chicken. Yeah. Dude, people in society, bro, like the average, I forgot what the statistics were. I think it's like 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's like the normal. That's like the new norm. I'm not saying you shouldn't find a way. You should definitely find a way to get out of the paycheck to paycheck shit. Which is very tough, but you can do it. But the issue is a lot of these corporations are not paying, and people find themselves like, I'm doing everything I can. I'm saving my money, and I just can't get ahead. And it's like, nigga, you ain't never gonna get ahead. That's the thing about it. Like, you ain't never going to, unless you got $1 million idea that's going to come and change your life, you will never get ahead. The society is prepackaged for you to be either in debt or to be working a job. And it's also set up to not empower you enough to not be a part of the system. That's just how it works. Yeah.
There's some merit to what Gary Vee says as far as like, I think the biggest thing is like living beyond your means. Cause I think there's a lot of people, like when you look at certain people's salaries, and to me, I'm always looking at the car you drive. Like, what kind of cars? Yeah. Like for me and my job in what I'm looking for is like, okay, I know that an administrator gets paid X amount of dollars, probably like 6 figures or something like that. And then I'm knowing that teachers are probably making like, not quite 6 figures, but maybe like some high 5 figures or something like that. And then I'm looking at like, what type of car is this person driving? And then what type of car is this person that gets paid far less than them driving? So I see, and I say that to say like a lot of times those people that are like, actually building wealth and that are really wealthy, it doesn't look like it, and not necessarily like, and not to say that their house is like a freaking 2-bedroom apartment, but more so to say like, they kind of spend their money in different ways. You know what I mean? Like they're not spending like $100,000 on a big fancy truck or a big fancy car. They're probably spending like $400,000 or $500,000 on a house, something that's going to appreciate over time. Right. So, I say that to say like, I just think that there's a financial literacy that goes along with it. And I think a lot of these people know like, that, I'm not, I don't need the fanciest car. I don't need the Mercedes Benz or whatever, but my crib is going to be crazy. I'm going to have a pool. We're going to have the RV to go on vacations in the summertime. But, so like you said, it's not that they're like, like saving money on Starbucks, that all that stuff is cool. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to make more money too. Yeah, absolutely, like, no choice. Yeah, like when it comes to saving, I think saving is great. And I definitely could do a better job at saving. Not in a way where like I don't put aside money, but saving, like there'd be certain things where I'd be like, dog, I should have canceled that. Or I got this subscription, I'm just paying this $10, $15 every month when I need to just really go cancel it, stuff like that. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me as much because I make a decent amount of money. You know what I mean? So there's ways to, like you said, the ultimate equalizer is, dog, we just got to make more money.
You have no choice. Mm-hmm. You have to make more money. It sounds like, oh, well, how do I do that? you have no choice. You better gain a new set of skills. Before I was truck driving, I worked at a call center, and I didn't make a lot of money at all. And that was like over 10 years ago. But I just took a chance. You know, I just had turned 30 years old at the time, and I reached the crossroads in my life, and I said, do I want to just keep working this bullshit job, or do I want to, you know, be more financially stable? I grew up poor, so I didn't want to fucking die, you know, broke. And I'm not rich now. I don't got it like that, but I do okay for myself. And I think the only reason why I do all right is because I took a chance. And I left my job, and I did it to where I wasn't even rehireable. So trucking had no choice but to work out. I went to trucking school out in Fontana, and I took it very seriously. I got my CDL, and I ended up finding a job locally after only being over the road for 2 months. But getting that experience over the years allowed me to get certain jobs. And, you know, I also had relationships with people over the years. And when people know you as a person, as a reliable person, you get jobs that way.
Right.
So ultimately, it ended up making me a wage where I can live a life where I could go to Dodger games. I could go out of the country. I can do this. I can, you know, co-produce a podcast and pay for space. Me and Keith pay rent at this freaking studio we're in right now. We could pay for podcast equipment. We could pay for microphones, you know, all kinds of shit. Like without us making those changes to make more money, we wouldn't even have a podcast. We'd probably be talking on speakerphone if we did have a podcast. We could not fucking afford the equipment.
Yeah.
But to make a long story short, to get back to the conversation at hand, enjoy your paycheck. I don't care if it's something small. It's. I think that we could get to a point where, yes, we're laser focused. We're trying to save money, whether it's to get a house or whether it's to get a different car or whatever. But it's like, man, if you end up eating out at a restaurant and you want to get a nice fucking steak, you want to get a nice 4-ounce steak, a 6-ounce steak with dessert with it, and it's like $92, and you're like, fuck. Are you really going to pout and be mad that you spent $90 on food for yourself? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. And what's wild too is like, if you, like for me, if I go on a date, for me, anything from $80 to like $130 is like where I expect to spend on a date.
Damn, that's steep, dog.
Really?
That's date inflation.
I mean, I'm just speaking of the facts.
No,
like,
I'm not. I'm just saying that's a good hefty meal right there.
Oh yeah, and you know, and the thing about it too is I'm not worried about it because it's not like I'm going to be taking you to, you know, to dinner every day. So to take you out on a date and it costs that much, it is what it is. But I'm not. You never catch me spending, especially on a first date, $500, something crazy like that.
Right.
You know what's wild about dating now? Like when you take a chick out on a date and the server comes. The way society is so fucked in the head and influenced, the server's nervous. They don't know who to give the check to now.
So interesting. They just put it on the table.
They put it on the table in between both people. And I was like,
50-50.
I was like, give me the check.
Yeah.
Give me the check.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, man, I remember, and I tend to give a tip too if the you know the waitress is cool. I totally give a tip.
Yeah.
This is years ago, but one of the waitresses was low key trying to was hitting on me hard. She was hitting on me so hard that my date was like, I think the waitress wants to fuck you or something. Swear to God, dude.
Yeah, woman be having that 6th sense.
She was, yeah. It didn't take a 6th sense. She was like legit hitting on me.
No, women be having that sex sense.
Yeah.
They know what's up.
I was like, lady, listen here. I will rip that apron off.
This date ain't going great anyways.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. After I get this check, you know, I'll give you a tip. And then I'll give you another tip later.
18%.
Oh man. All right, let's get into it. Switching gears. There's been a lot of conversation about these 100 men versus a silverback gorilla. And here's my issue with the conversation. It's obviously an internet hypothetical because people tend to do this type of shit a lot. There's a lot of just unnecessary conversations taking place. But I'm going to entertain it for the sake of just, you know, the listeners that have been hearing it online. First of all, I want to give you some measurables when it comes to a silverback gorilla because these things are dangerous. They are crazy. Okay. First of all, Gorillas have the bite force of 1,300 pounds per square inch. So this gorilla could literally, they got sharp teeth. If you look at a gorilla, it's not just these little dull teeth. They got some sharp ass teeth. Mm-hmm. So a gorilla could bite you in your fucking head, through your skull, and just chew on your brain.
Huh.
This is like literal, right? And here's another thing. Silverbacks have a lot on the line to lose a fight. So if a silverback gorilla loses in a fight to another primate, they could lose the rights to their family. So if you get your ass whooped by another gorilla, like literally if the other gorilla whoops your ass, then he could run off with your family. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if you a gorilla and you get your ass whooped and they just run off with your hoe like that?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm playing.
Yo, ho-rilla.
Oh, and then your whole rilla, she walk off. Oh man, I was about to insert a Glorilla song right now to make it funny, but nah, man, they got a lot on the line, man.
Yeah.
So not only is this extremely just freaking the apex of strength and anger and physical, like, aggressiveness, but they got a lot of ego on the line. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about what kind of men do we need. We need 100 men to fight this freaking huge gorilla primate monster, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with the WWE/WWF, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I'm gonna start. We got 100 people, so the first guy I'm gonna get is gonna be Andre the Giant. Andre was 7'4", 520 pounds. We need the biggest, most intimidating looking motherfucker to get to that gorilla and kind of scare him a little bit, right? So then after him, we're gonna go with the Big Show, right? Mm-hmm. Who was well over 7 foot tall, probably around 500 pounds as well.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna get Rikishi. Got to get Rikishi.
Yeah.
Rikishi gonna just, how he used to do that ass thing. Mm-hmm. He used to just put his ass and suffocate. So
that's the
only.
Rikishi invented eating ass.
Yeah, hopefully
that was sexual assault though, because he was forcing people to eat the ass,
and they was doing it.
Yeah,
that's
crazy, sweaty, nasty.
He was the first nigga to have a BBL. All right, and then Mark Henry, right, and who was an Olympian weightlifter. So that's you got the most nastiest, strongest fucking dudes right there. Then I'm gonna throw in a wrench in there. I'm gonna throw in Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Because even though he's not that big, he's just a badass. Mm-hmm. Stone Cold was like, he would like break a beer over the gorilla's head. Mm-hmm. Like, look here, you son of a bitch. You got these goddamn gorillas running around here. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to fucking smash this beer in your face. And the gorilla going to be confused as a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Got to have Stone Cold.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to kill this gorilla and that's the bottom line. Dun, 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 dun. That was a bad dude. And I wasn't like the biggest wrestling fan, but whenever Stone Cold came out there with those 2 knee braces, I was like, oh, this is a bad fucking dude.
And them jean shorts on?
Yeah, he's a bad fucking dude.
Yeah.
Him, and I'll give a few more. I'm going to go with Booker T.
Okay.
Go with Booker T.
Yeah.
He going to see that gorilla and be like, come on here, sucker.
He going to accidentally say nigga.
Oh, yeah. Come on, you nigga gorilla. I mean, oh, shit. Who's another badass from WWE? You have no choice. You got to throw fucking Hulk Hogan in there. Mm-hmm. You got to throw him in. Mm-hmm. You got to throw in fucking, oh my God, what's his name? Step into a Slim Jim. Macho Man. Randy Savage. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm going to take that fucking gorilla. I'm going to twist your goddamn face up. And then I'm going to stab you in your chest. Is that the problem with you? You ain't never fought a real man before, gorilla. That's your problem. Man, I miss those days of just fictional toughness.
Yeah.
That was the best, man.
I have a kid in my class. He'd be bringing like wrestling action figures to school.
No way.
Yeah. He's like a regular guy. He just loves him some wrestling.
So he's gay? No, I'm messing with you.
You guys got to take it there.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I'm just trying to think. He's just probably a super duper wrestling fan.
Yeah, he's just like a nerdy kid.
Yeah, which is not as prevalent in today's world. I think whenever young people are into stuff, I think that's a great thing.
Wrestling is coming back though.
It's
a strong comeback.
It is. They got some pretty cool characters. Fuck. Who am I missing? You got Razor Ramon. Who's another one? Mankind.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I'm missing one. Kane. Definitely Kane.
Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. That's the fucking dude right there.
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I used to really think he was dead.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Undertaker is dead. How is he still fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably, dude, my childhood was like, I feel bad for these kids now, dude. My childhood was so great.
Mm-hmm.
It was so great. We got to experience so much cool shit, man.
Yeah.
We got to experience Michael Jordan in his prime. We got to experience WWF.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fucking Hulk Hogan coming out his shirt like, yeah.
Yeah.
Hulkamania, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Macho Man, all those jerky commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that many jerky commercials in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny about Slim Jim doesn't even do commercials anymore, bro.
Yeah. I haven't seen one.
They don't.
Yeah.
But back in the 90s, every other commercial was like, you know what, brother? You fucking messing with the wrong guy. You're eating a Slim Jim and you get in there and you want to get pumped up and it's hard for you to do it. Like, oh, man, I want jerky, man. That seems like a great snack all of a sudden.
Yeah. Slim Jim.
Okay, so now we got the WWE guys or WWF guys. You got to throw the Rock in there too. All right, and then, you know, believe it or not, I need some dudes that are tactical. Right, that know how to use, you know, leverage, that know how to outsmart the gorilla. So I'm just gonna go pick some firefighters. Right, we got the brute force, but we need a little smarts with a little bit of brute force to add on to it. I feel like firefighters are pretty tough guys. So, and you know, I would add firefighters on there, and then I would say, you know what? Probably at least 20% of the 100 men. I'm just gonna get a bunch of regular guys that are trying to get out of paying child support. Because they're not going to fight fair. They're not going to fight fair. If you're trying to get out of child support and you see that gorilla, you've been going toe-to-toe with your baby mama for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That gorilla don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think that the dude with the child support behind on payments, that motherfucker going to have all that child support paperwork and he going to distract the gorilla by throwing the paperwork in his face. And the gorilla gonna be like, oh, fuck. And then that's when the Big Show slaps the fucking gorilla. And then Mark Henry just back slams him. Bam.
I think for me, I seen this. I put it up on ChatGPT. I just did some comparisons. I seen that it's like a side-by-side.
Mm-hmm.
Average height of a gorilla is like between 4'5" and 5'9".
Wait,
Standing upright. And the average height of a human is 5'4" to 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so humans are...
What gorilla are you looking for, bro?
It just says gorilla.
No. We talking about a silverback.
How tall are they?
Fucking huge.
I don't think they're that tall.
Oh, God. They're like fucking 7. Some of them could be up to 7 foot.
You know, 7-foot gorilla. You tripping.
Hold on, let's look it up. Silverback gorilla height. Okay. Nah, this motherfucker is not very big. Let me see. Up to 6 feet. So they're not very tall.
Yeah.
5 foot is this one, but 430 pounds.
Yeah. All right. We got that.
All right.
You interrupted me with wrong information.
God.
All right. So weight comparison, like you said, this one says 300 to 485. Average human is between 130 and 200 pounds. Okay. Muscle mass, it doesn't say like actual like percentage or anything. It just says much higher relative to body weight. Humans less dense, more endurance oriented. Okay. Strength is 6 to 10 times stronger than the average human. Humans much weaker, especially in the upper body. Arm length longer than their legs.
Oh, shit.
They're knuckle walkers, so they have much longer arms. Shorter, and then it says humans' arms are shorter than their legs. Upright walkers. The bite force 1300 psi, and then human is 160 to 200. It says the speed short burst. It says up to 20 to 25 miles per hour. It says the average human runs 12 to 15, but elite sprinters can reach up to like 27 miles per hour. Brain size. This is the one. It says 500 cc for the gorilla, and then 1300 to 1400 cc for the human. And then Dexterity says good, but less precise. Humans are much more dexteral, I guess. I don't know the word.
Okay.
But superior, more motor skills. Okay. So humans have better motor skills than gorillas. So I think that's the thing that's going understated is the actual brain size of humans versus gorillas. Just humans being able to outsmart, the physical. We think about it like in combat sports, right? Where you'll see you'll watch a boxing match or something like that, and you'll see somebody that may be a little bigger, maybe a little bit stronger, but even with Floyd was fighting guys that were like, maybe he fought Canelo probably came into the ring like 25, 30 pounds heavier than Floyd, but he was just able to use his boxing skills and his brain to beat him. So that's one of the things when it comes to this match. I know that gorillas are like just much, much more physically imposing, as a lot of animals are. But humans, we just got that, that intellect that I think can benefit us, especially when it's 100 people putting together a plan to attack this thing. So I think what would probably play out, the gorilla gonna take out a good. I think it's going to take out like 40 people, good 40, 45 people. Just like guys is just going to go in there and just try to like squab. Like they're going to try to squabble up. And then the gorilla is just going to be punching like 50 people out. And then that's when I think the gorilla is going to get tired.
He's going to get tired and scared.
Yeah, he's going to get tired. And then they just going to keep coming. So he's just going to be like, hoo, hoo. And then the people, that's when they're going to just start punching him in his head and then just like, just dogpiling on him. And then that's when it's going to be a wrap.
The ones that's going to finish the gorilla off is the baby daddies trying to get off child support.
Yeah. I wouldn't have, to me, I'm not having no baby daddies in there. My 100 men would look like much more like physically capable people. So I'm putting in like, first I'm doing like a draft of like boxers and UFC fighters, and then probably like some more like just different mixed martial arts, but those are just the most popular people. So I'm getting like a couple heavyweight boxers, like some of the Klitschko brothers, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Like these are in their prime though.
You get guys that can punch hard.
Yeah, so getting some, and they're like big guys. These guys are like 6'5", 6'6".
You got to understand that the baby daddies, they could take all that paperwork that they haven't been paying attention to from the child support department, and they could fold it up and turn it into a shank and use it against the gorilla. That's what you're missing. The dude that is 5 years behind on child support is not going to fight fair.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, he's going to take whatever documents that he has not been paying attention to, he's going to use that against the gorilla in some capacity.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's paper cuts. I don't know if it's, turn it into a shank, because I would assume a dude with like 7 baby mamas has been to jail before, and he knows his way or two around a shank.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I go with that. I'm going some boxers. I'm getting like good 15, 20 heavyweight boxers and like cruiserweight boxers. And then I'm going, like I said, with the UFC fighters, getting some like John Jones type guys, getting like another 10, 15 of those. And then I'm going straight to NFL, NBA.
You're getting Aaron the Plumber in there.
Bruh, like, let me rock. I'm getting NFL, NBA, and then I'm getting some rugby guys. Definitely like, some Australian like dudes that's like, these are the guys that are like they're basically playing football without no pads. So I just know they have like a different level of physicality. Then you got to get like a Aaron Donald type guy, like a Terrell Suggs type guy, like some NFL defensive lineman, some Trent Williams. I feel like Trent Williams, I feel like he probably believes
he has a literal silverback gorilla tattooed on his back.
Exactly. Like I think he could stand toe to toe on his own with one of them.
He could run block that gorilla.
He'll definitely prevent him from tackling Brock Purdy. Some of those. And then, like I said, it's probably like if you look at some of these Olympic wrestlers, We know like Jake Varner, that kind of guy, like Greco-Roman. Like, you know, you could go to like the nationals, like college national, NCAA national champions. Some heavyweight guys that are probably weighing like 230, 240, but they're just like, they got that wrestling, you know, that wrestling strength is different. So getting some of those guys, and then, it might, and then you got to get like I'm getting like some transients just because they ain't got nothing to fight for. So you just throw them in there to get the gorilla tired. No, and then that's when you come in.
No, this is what you do. The transients, you throw a sandwich in there. It's like, I'm gonna kill this goddamn gorilla.
Yeah, you just throw a sandwich in the middle, and then they just and some money.
With me, I'm gonna throw in one Karen. Just out of all the different physical specimen men out there, I want one Karen, so she could be like, "You can't park there. What are you doing here, gorilla? You can't be in our neighborhood. Do you have a passcode to the gate? What are you doing here?"
You got to throw a Karen in there because they're gonna be like subliminally racist because they already think black people are monkeys. So she gonna go over there and be like, "What are you doing in my neighborhood?" And then he just gonna bite her head off.
You can't park there. And the gorilla gonna be like, "Bitch, you talking to me?" Oh, man.
That's crazy.
I think, you know what's funny? I think we're missing. Who would be the most effective out of everybody that you've chosen? Who would be the most effective towards the gorilla? Because I got an answer for it.
I would say, to me, probably the NFL guys. That's what I would think. NFL defensive line, offensive lineman. That's what I would think.
I'm gonna say they're gonna be the ones that are the most effective as far as using brute force and strength. But the most effective is gonna be the UFC guys because they got ground game. Yeah. They know how to get those. They know how to get that monkey in those fucking holds.
Right.
You know, they could use that monkey's power against them. If you get that monkey's in an arm bar, it's over with.
But that's what you got to think of when we're thinking about this thing. These gorilla, like being that we're built different, like our brains are completely different. Like same thing with like when it says on there the average speed is like 12 to 15 miles per hour for, you know, the average human, but it might be like 20 to 25. Gorillas don't train, you know what I mean? Whatever physicality they have is natural. It's just what they wake up with. So when it comes to humans, I could imagine a gorilla, like even if you ever seen a gorilla fight or a lion fight or whatever, everything is like short spurts. You will never see a gorilla. We watch boxing. These people are fighting for like 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like 36 or whatever. If you're watching a gorilla fight, the fights be like, they hit each other for a little bit. They be like little, you know, minute and a half altercations, and then usually somebody gives up, and then they go on about their day. But, you know, like a human like that's designed to go 4 quarters, or a UFC fighter that's designed to fight like 5-minute rounds.
Yeah. Like
if you get a few of those guys in there, like you'll wear out a gorilla pretty easily. And then after that, they ain't gonna know what to do.
I'm gonna tell you something too. The reason why the jiu-jitsu guys or the UFC guys will be the most effective is because all you need, if you're wearing clothes, you could take your clothes off. You could take your shirt off and use that shit as leverage. So if you get a guy that could jump behind that fucking gorilla with a t-shirt and pull it hard, you choking the gorilla out from the back, and then the other dude is getting a hold of his arm, and you get the gorilla down like that, man. The gorilla will lose oxygen. He already tired. And who's to say the gorilla wouldn't be scared if you got fucking Andre the Giant, and you got the Big Show, and you got fucking Rikishi, and you got Mark Henry coming at you?
Yeah.
That's like 4 gorillas.
Yeah.
So they're large men, but you got to imagine, we making it like a gorilla can't be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably see a guy like us and be like, defeat him. But when they see Shaq, they're like, oh God.
That's another factor that like I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. Like you said, just when you see watching like Animal Planet and stuff like that, you'll see like even when they say like if you see a bear, how you like you're supposed to be big, like put your hands up and make a lot of noise and stuff like that. Like we're all scared. Like even though the bear is much bigger, it's still probably intimidated by the fact. It's just like pre-game nerves, you know what I mean? Like we playing a football game and we a little bit nervous, like dang, I don't know. But and then once you get into action, then it's like it all. I can
only imagine that if you're like on a hiking trail with your wife and your kids, and you see this fucking massive bear, and then you got the only way to protect your wife and kids is to put your arms out and go and you're fucking yelling at the top of your lungs.
Yeah,
I mean, look. If the bear kills me, at least it'll give my wife and kids some time to run.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that'd be sad.
That'd be fucked up. I'd be like, damn, bear, why you got to do me like that in front of my kids?
Yeah.
Now my wife got to go be the bear's hoe now? God damn it.
Yeah.
Now the bear pimping my wife, man. This ain't right, man. Damn. I just imagine that Karen though. Like, you can't park there. Yeah. Touch me and I'll sue you. Touch me and I'll fucking sue you, gorilla. Sure. Touch me and I'll fucking sue you.
Yeah. And she gonna be on TikTok recording it all.
Yeah, this gorilla is not from our neighborhood. He's driving around. I don't know how he got in the car, but he's here and he won't leave. And the gorilla like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I live here. I live here. You're racist. You're fucking racist. You're racist. Leave me alone. You're racist. You just killed 40 men with your hands, but you won't touch me because I will fucking sue you. I have a lawyer. My lawyer's on the phone right now.
Yeah, you got to throw a Karen in there.
Oh, yeah, just one. The Karen going to distract the gorilla so bad that's when he going to start catching fades.
Yeah.
That's when Aaron the plumber going to come from the back like, hey, Brodowski. Hey, nigga, look. Hey.
Yeah.
He gonna hit him with that weak ass ghetto punch.
Yeah, ghetto punch. That's cool.
The gorilla gonna be like, oh, this nigga hit kind of hard. Oh man. That's if you imagine like just random dudes trying to get involved, it'd probably be some drunk dudes like, oh fuck no, that's my Uncle Carlos. Oh, what are you doing? He's like, I'm all right, nephew. Just leave me alone.
That's crazy.
All right, I think we've exhausted this this hypothetical conversation enough. But I just think if you're gonna go head up with a gorilla, you got to get the biggest and the best.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
that's my thing. I think a lot of people are on the side of like the gorilla is gonna win, but when you really sit back and break down, when you go back to the tape and you really put some guys in there, like if you just throw 100 random people in there, gorilla might win. But if you start to get like really tactical with who you put in there, I think the 100 man has a fair chance.
But hold up, I got another hypothetical. This is a good one. 100 women versus accountability.
Oh dang.
100 women versus basic car maintenance.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah.
100 women versus I don't know what to eat for lunch.
100 women versus a decision.
Oh man. Oh man. It'd be like 100 women versus I'm not hungry. As soon as you get your food, they're eating your shit.
That is crazy.
Oh man. I got 100 women versus a Starbucks barista. You got it wrong. I ordered a latte matcha, and you just you said you just wanted a matcha with a double pump latte, and that's what you said you ordered. Like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Ma'am, you're holding up the line. We have to go to work. No, you're going to wait. You're going to wait.
That's crazy.
I'm not a Starbucks person at all, dude. I don't understand like I don't understand like the attraction to it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. I don't what's the other one? Dutch Bros?
Dutch Bros, yeah.
I've never been there.
Well, I think coffee is a little bit addicting, especially with the caffeine in it.
That sugar they put in it.
Yeah, and then the sugar also. But a lot of people drink I would say, I don't know the percentage, but a lot of people do drink like black coffee. They just like the like it's a pick me up for them. Like some people get really, jacked on caffeine and stuff like that. So I think like half of it is the sugar and then half of it is the people just need that coffee.
I don't understand the black coffee thing.
It's energy.
I guess.
Yeah, it's caffeine. That's what they're drinking it for.
I love my coffee just how I like my man BBC.
Oh dang!
You're like, girl, you need to stop drinking that shit.
Yeah, they got to chill.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it, man. All right, switching gears. A pissed Trump called Jeff Bezos after learning Amazon considered breaking a tariff charge. So here's the thing. Jeff Bezos. All right, let's read it. The White House took aggressive aim at Amazon, with President Donald Trump putting in a call to Amazon founder Jeff Bezos Tuesday morning after the company considered displaying the added cost on tariffs on certain items. Trump called Bezos to complain about the reports that Amazon was considering displaying the cost of U.S. tariffs next to prices for certain products on the company's website. Two senior White House officials told CNN Trump later said it's all good. It was a good call. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. Trump told reporters on Tuesday. He solved the problem very quickly. Good guy.
That nigga. Yeah. Trump is like... Just the way he compliments people is hilarious.
Yeah. I think Trump had some dirt on Jeff. He's like, all right, Jeff, you want to put the prices of the tariffs? That's fine. I've got that dick sucking video that you had back in 2005.
Oh, dang.
I'm telling you, Trump got dirt on people.
Yeah.
That's why I think he could get people to like shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, I remember that pool party in Africa in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, we got the video. That's why people wondering like, man, why is Snoop Dogg? Somebody said the reason why Snoop Dogg performed at the freaking crypto ball and all that, he said because they had dirt on him. I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah. But I'll say this. When it comes to Jeff Bezos, if he considered showing the tariff charges on certain items, that doesn't make him a hero. People need to understand, like, Jeff Bezos is a super billionaire who may be more left-leaning. However, he's not like this good CEO guy or the good owner of that company. He treats his employees like shit. You got workers that are driving in those vans that are pissing in freaking plastic bottles and throwing them on the side of the road because they can't take, real breaks with your job. Mm-hmm. Like, so stop it, bro. Like, he's not a good guy. He's a wolf and a vampire, just like a Trump or anyone else. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I just think that these tariffs are gonna be paid for by us. And I was like, what do you expect when you like? There's gonna be a downside to getting the Democrats or the Republicans in here. When you get Donald Trump in here, this motherfucker said that Mexico was paying for the wall. That was a goddamn lie. Mm-hmm. Like, when they said Mexico was paying for the wall, Mexico was like, what do you mean? Like, we're not paying for that. Mm-hmm. And we fell, and I would say a lot of people fell for it. I didn't, but a lot of people fell for it. Now, you saying that these other countries going to pay for the tariffs. We're already seeing that that's not accurate. Mm-hmm. So, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. I've seen the price on certain items already go up, dude.
Like what?
Oh, man, hats. There's some, like, blank hats that I had bought. They were for $350. Now they're $425 now. Dang. So I was like,
Yeah. I would say, at the end of the day, if what I guess what is the result of the tariffs, like if it is a thing where, like our taxes are a percentage of taxes that we pay on items goes down, or our income tax goes down, or whatever. I don't know what it's going to look like, but whatever that plan is, if it actually works, then, maybe good on Trump. But at the moment, It just looks bad.
It looks bad.
I think for Jeff Bezos, though, when you're putting the amount of tariffs, I mean, the how much the taxes are, affecting the cost of items, it's like, that's only transparent because you're trying to make Donald Trump look bad.
That's all.
But what about, like, the extreme markups on items that are already happening? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like the designer bag that was made for $20 that's selling for, like $300. Are you going to like start putting that stuff on there? Mm-hmm. Like, hey guys, this is a ripoff. Or like the freaking Gildan t-shirt that's selling, the Nike Gildan t-shirt that they're super like, charging the price crazy for
Right.
those items, but they're only really worth like, $10 or something like. So where does it stop and where does it begin?
Yeah. Are you also going to show all the small businesses that you fucking crushed over the years? Are you also going to display that? So my thing is I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but I'm not about to sit here and, just because you want to make Trump look bad, you got some skeletons in your closet, sir. First of all, you don't have hair. Second of all, all right, that was friendly fire because I'm bald too. But yeah, I don't see the point of showing the tariff price. You don't have to hide it, but I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious that that's a feature that's never been on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So like if you, I don't, it's not even, he probably was trying to label it as like product transparency almost. Mm-hmm. Like this is why the price went up, but you've never done that. You've had things go up in price over the years. You've never chosen to show why it went up in price.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not with that, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm not with it. I think he's trying to slam dunk on Trump.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Trump has something on his ass. You got to. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, your wife, I've got something that you don't know about her, but I know it. I'm not saying that I know it. I'm just saying that it's a possibility.
This is what people are saying.
People are saying that this video might come out. I'm not saying that there's something on it with your wife on it, but maybe there is.
It's going to be available at Prime.
Your Trump is getting worse. God damn.
Hey, man. It happens.
All right. Yeah, not too much else to say about this. But we're going to find out how this is, because out there at the port, it's not looking good right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've been paying attention. There's no ships out there, man.
Well,
Long Beach ports, no ships. Watch this. While there was a recent period of significant backlog and congestion at the port of Long Beach, there are currently no ships waiting off the Southern California coast. This change from the high number seen in early 2021, where the backlog was a major headline. So it says, okay, hold on. Canceled sailings already hitting cargo at ports in Long Beach. Okay, so it's starting to come around. Okay, well, things are coming around. Back to school, fall, winter holidays may seem like a long time away, but the cargo and shipping world, they're all fast approaching through tariffs are causing uncertainty. Peak season starts July. Port of Long Beach CEO, blah, 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 said Friday, May 2nd, referring to the time when shippers begin sending over fall goods for stores. This is the time, he said, when they begin looking to order those goods. But they're doing it. And were more we delay, the increased chance there will be that we won't have those pre-cuts on the store shelves. So I guess, I think even Charlamagne said, hey, if some stuff you really need to get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people at the last minute getting shit. I'm just going to get like some extra stuff so I could just be chilling at the house.
Yeah. Or don't buy nothing.
Yeah, or not. Yeah.
Just, the prices are probably going to go up on certain things. I don't think it's going to be astronomical. I think it's just going to be just enough to be annoying. Like, dang, this costs $6 now instead of $4. Yeah. So I think that's what most of the stuff is going to look like. But at the end of the day, like, prices is going to go up. There ain't nothing we could do about it.
No, not a whole lot.
All you can do really is, hop on Twitter and say bad stuff about Donald Trump. And, just keep going on with your life.
Yeah, even that is a waste of time. You're just another person, another voiceless person on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even waste my time badmouthing the president, because a lot of the stuff that he's not doing, all these other administrations have, fucked up on as well. Mm-hmm. So whether it's immigration reform, all of it, all these administrations have failed. Whether it's Obama all the way past him, they've all failed.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Switching gears. Trump to require truck drivers to speak English and pass literacy tests as communication. All right. President Donald Trump will sign an executive order requiring truck drivers to pass English literacy tests, which will bolster road safety, according to White House Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Trump will sign an order directing the Department of Transportation to include English literacy test for our truckers. This is a big problem in the trucking community, Levitt said on Monday afternoon during the press conference with new members of the media. The press conference was separate from the White House press briefing earlier Monday morning. Trump expected to sign an executive order late Monday afternoon. Okay. What did he say in quote? Let me read this real quick. You might not know, but there's a lot of communication problems between truckers on the road with federal officials and local officials as well, which obviously is a public safety risk, Levitt continued. So we're going to ensure that our truckers, who are the backbone of our economy, are able to all speak English. That's a very common sense policy. Okay. Here's what I got to say. Now, I will say that I was under the assumption that everybody spoke English. Mm-hmm. Even if it wasn't the greatest. I just was under the assumption that everybody spoke English. I thought that you had to speak English in order to get your CDL. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know if you could do it in Spanish or not, because you got to understand, it's not just, as far as people who are up from other countries. I would say Indian drivers are probably under the most pressure for this. And the reason why is because Spanish and English are a lot more alike than if you from India and you don't speak, and you speak your native language primarily. English is going to be a little harder. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the drivers that are maybe, living in America now that previously from Mexico, they're going to have a less hard time reading signs. Mm-hmm. I think the number one thing about road safety is being able to read the signs on the side of the road. Instead of a literacy test, I would just have a bunch of road signs. And I was like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And if they know that, just let them go. Mm-hmm. The only thing that people need to understand is to read those road signs. Because let's say, for example, I moved to France and I'm truck driving in France and they got a sign up and it's like Francois, cum déjà, right? And I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then I just drive off a fucking cliff, mm-hmm. right? That's because I can't comprehend what's on, their road signs. Yeah. You might be driving in the oncoming traffic because the sign told you to get over, because their traffic rules are way different in different countries. Right. So I would say there should be some form of literacy, but I think the tests are not that deep. My homeboy was talking to me the other day. He said, look, the test that they're giving drivers for the literacy test, because he's actually from El Salvador, my homeboy. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my boy Carlos. He said it's not that hard. He said I'll put it this way to you, Eddie. He said if they had a literacy test in Spanish with the Spanish that you would pass. Mm. So I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense. It's not like it's asking people to write a 7-page paper in English. Yeah. I think it's just saying do you understand basic stuff? If you don't understand no English at all, it is unsafe to be on the road. If you don't know no English, none, you should not be driving because our road signs are in English.
But a lot of signs are like symbols though.
Nah, I'm not just that. It's other things there'll be a road sign that'll say heavy fog. The ones, the big digital signs? Yeah. You got to read all road signs, everything.
Yeah, but those are like if you happen on a 5 or something like that, you'll see those things. But just driving through the city, most of and they're designed like that for a reason. Like a stop sign is obviously it says stop. It's on a there, stop, absolutely. But it's like a big a red octagon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or most you could go through a lot of the city for sure without actually. But
you better not end up on a one-way street. You better be able to read where it say one-way street. You're gonna be driving in the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, one ways. Those are ones.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need to have the.
But even that, when you see the arrow pointing, you can just. I think there's a lot. They're designed like that for a specific reason because you can't be reading a freaking 4-page letter that are. When you're driving, a lot of the stuff is coupled with, a lot of the words are coupled with directional arrows or different colors, whether it's yellow or red to kind of to make it simplify the communication.
Bro, like I said, I don't think you don't gotta speak super fluent English because you gotta understand there's some people that are still new to this country that are learning the language. That's why I said, just instead of having to do a literacy test and write this and do this, it shouldn't be that. Just give people the road signs. If they can understand the road signs, then let them go.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the reason behind it is. I don't know what the thing is, but what I will say is a lot of the stuff that Trump is doing is like rooted in subliminal racism.
Absolutely.
So I can definitely see this as a thing where he's trying not to give people that are from another country or don't speak English. This is a way that he can keep them or prevent them from, entering into this country or thriving in this country. So, this is definitely one of those things.
It is, but there's two things could be true. It could be true that there's he's trying to galvanize the people that voted for him, but it's also true that you do need to be able to read signs in English. Like that, those two things are true. Yeah. I think that, like I said, if I go to another country, let's say I go to Dubai and I can't read any of those signs, I'm fucked. Mm-hmm. So I think that you should have just a basic comprehension. I don't think you need to speak fluent English. Mm-hmm. You just need to be able to read the fucking signs. So all of them, the tests that they're giving are not good tests. They want you to write this. I want you to write this. And then I want you to write this. Because, it's people in America that are truck drivers that are not that literate.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying truckers are dumb, but I know some that are pretty fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. Right. And they've been speaking English all their life. And, but I say, just like I said, get them the book, the DMV booklet. I wonder, did the DMV booklet come in Spanish and English? I think it does.
Probably so.
If here's the thing. If you provide a book in Spanish, then this whole thing should be null and void. If the DMVs are providing something in another language and it's showing people how to read the signs, then it should not be applicable for somebody that got their CDL that way. Mm-hmm. If they got their CDL where it was in Spanish for them to read, but it was still English signs, then there's no point for them to do a literacy test. They've already passed.
The thing that says, this has been, it says federal law mandates that the commercial vehicle drivers read and speak English sufficiently, yet this requirement has not been enforced pursuant to Obama administration guidance, compromising roadway safety as trucking fatalities have increased since this guidance was issued. It says motor vehicle crashes are a leading cause of death in the United States, killing over 120 people every day. The Trump administration is committed to enforcing this law to protect the safety of American truck drivers, passengers, and others by ensuring that anyone operating a commercial vehicle is properly qualified and proficient in English, the national language. It's a lot of stuff in there.
That's actually inaccurate though.
There's no national language.
The Obama administration statement is inaccurate. It's actually the Bush administration before Obama. Mm-hmm. He was the first one to get people licenses that were not exclusively from America. Like Bush was the one that was rolling it out. Mm-hmm. And then during the Obama administration, it was already in place. Mm-hmm. Watch, all I gotta do is look it up, man. Because sometimes these people they're just into sensationalism. They just want to be like, the Democrats did this or the Republicans did this. It's like a gotcha moment.
Yeah.
But it's like, we don't need
All he said was it has not been enforced by Obama, though. He didn't say that he implemented it.
George Bush CDLs. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see here. Hold on. The phrase George Bush CDL foreign, I don't know, likely refers to the foreign policy initiatives of either George H.W. Bush president or George Bush from 2001 to 2009. Both administrations had distinct foreign policy approaches. No, it's not talking about the fucking licenses though. George Bush was the one that had started that initially. Anyways, I think that this is right on. This is right on brand with some of the shit that Trump is trying to do. Mm. I'm not gonna waste my breath on it, but I would encourage anybody that lives in any country, even if you're visiting, just to become more literate in that language, just so you can keep yourself safe. Because when you got to read those signs, you're gonna have to read them in their language. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know some dudes that don't speak great English, but they ain't never been in no accident.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, this is part of the game. But yeah, there's that. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. Switching gears, the movie Sinners. If you have not watched that movie, just go ahead and move on from here. We just have a little bit of commentary. I don't have a ton to say. I will say it was a great movie. I watched it over a week. That was last week. I watched the movie. Hell of a movie. I think that there was a lot of historical context built into the movie. One of them was just the landscape of what it was to live, how it was to live in those times, like as a person of color. Like being a black person living in that time was different. Like some of the stories they told in the film about family members or friends that have gotten hung and lynched and shit, that was built into the movie. Also, the fact that those two brothers were into like I guess like organized crime. What were they? They weren't bootleggers, were they? What were they doing?
It didn't actually. I don't think it actually said. They just said they went to Chicago and then they left. But it kind of alluded to them kind of pitting two, I think like Italians and I forget who it was, but pitting two like gangsters against each other, and then they was able to make out with a lot of money and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the film, man, the theme of the movie is sin, right? I think that, living in sin and being sinful. But also, it's so fucking much. Yeah. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so you start with the two brothers. Obviously, they've been in some form of organized crime. They come back to their original, stomping grounds. And a lot of people are broke and destitute. Some of them are in prison, working on a chain gang. Other ones are working in the fields picking cotton. And they're giving these people opportunities. And they want to open up a juke club. Initially towards the beginning, not the opening scene, but towards the beginning of the film, they met this, this white guy, and he had like a barn, and he told them before he purchased the barn, he said, "You boys," he called him a boy, and being called a boy as a black man in that time was extremely racist.
That's right now.
Yeah. So he said, "Who you calling a boy?" You had the gun out, and the guy said, "Oh, I didn't mean nothing by it. I don't mean nothing by it." And he said, "Well," and then after they purchased it and gave him the money, they said, "If you got any of your clan members around here this many feet, we're gonna kill them." Right. So he was giving him a fair warning, and the guy played dumb, like, "Ain't no clan around here no more." Right. Which he was lying.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much in this film, and I didn't write things down 1 through 25. But if you watch this movie, you can keep along and you know exactly what we're talking about. There's another part within the movie where they spoke about, music and how it, there's been certain musicians over time that have been so great and so powerful that they can summon a bunch of dance and laughter and beauty, but they also summon evil. And they showed like these different snippets of different artists throughout history, and they were all playing at the same time, which is crazy.
Yeah, all the different like music, got DJs, you got people twerking and crip walking and all kind of stuff.
It's basically the messaging was like, like black culture basically, or origins of that. But they also, instead of just black culture, they had like, like a Korean couple that was in the film, and they started like highlighting other cultures, which I thought was pretty cool too. But the girl Haley, what's her name, Haley Steinfeld, she did a great job of being a white passing black woman in that movie. I think that what she did was, even though she's not black, she had just enough features to pass for a white passing black woman. And if you don't know what that term means, go to Google right now and look up white passing. There were black people in that time frame that were very fair-skinned, or they had a blended family that had, like, if you had a drop of being black in you, you were labeled as black, but you could also be white passing and you could just live a normal life without any discrimination. So like when we talk about the struggles of being a person of color in America, it came with skin tone, because here's the thing. People talk about the struggles of people that were Jewish and things of that nature, or Italian and coming here as immigrants. But the difference is they got to be white passing. Mm-hmm. Being black, you didn't have no choice.
Yeah.
You was just fucked. Mm-hmm. Right. But I think she did a great job in that film, man. What was it? Damn it. Towards the beginning where she was at that train, at the freaking, the train stop. Mm-hmm. And the dude asked, like, what is she? Like, what was she? She ain't just white, is she? What is she? Mm-hmm. I think that was insinuating that she was more than just being white, which I think was important. People said that about Babe Ruth also. Babe Ruth was, they said he was basically black. Mm-hmm. Watch, let me look that up actually. Just to give you an idea of what white passing was. We talked about, who was another one that had a Mexican mom? Was it Lou Gehrig? No, it wasn't Nolan Ryan. Who was it? It was Lou Gehrig. But one of them, they had a mom that was straight up Mexican, but he never wanted to say it because he feared discrimination. Mm-hmm. So he just continued his baseball career being white. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
I think for me, I'll kind of read the synopsis. So it says, trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to Mississippi hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. So that's kind of like I didn't mean to do that. That's kind of like the basic, synopsis of the film. But for me, I thought it was an amazing film. For me, I'm a fan of Ryan Coogler. I have, outside of Fruitvale Station, I've watched like every one of his movies in the theaters. Like I always try to go and support, him as a director, because I think for me as like an aspiring filmmaker, when you go or when you see like people that have like real artistic integrity, and they are also a young black man and they're able to, get these opportunities to make these big budget films, I think it's important for me as an individual to at least support financially, because that means that the next time, a young black man is a director or a writer or whatever, they're going to give these people more opportunities because they know that, these black young filmmakers have stories to tell. So that's I think that's a win for not only Ryan Coogler, but also like anybody out there that looks like Ryan Coogler. So I was a little worried because on the Thursday night that the movie came out, the theaters were empty. Like I was looking to buy tickets that night, but it didn't end up working out just because I forget what happened. But I was like, dang dog, like this is gonna be a dud. Like I'm kind of sad for the situation. But then it's kind of like the word of mouth kind of got out when you start to have like, those group chats where you're like, yo, like go see Sinners, or you start to tell your friends, or you're asking people, your coworkers and things like that, like, have you seen the movie? Then like the ball starts to get rolling, and that's when I think people started to go see it, even though it was like, already marketed really well and people were looking forward to seeing it. I think once that word of mouth got out, and then not only that, then you start to see like actual celebrities, like pretty much every major actor or director was like taking pictures of themselves at the movie theaters in front of the poster, and that only helped, kind of promote the movie in that
Tom
way.
Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is definitely one of them that was telling people to go see it. Spike Lee. I've seen a couple other people, but yeah, shout out to all them. But as far as the movie goes, I think that it was like, I think it's always amazing when you get to learn something in a fictional movie in that way. He was able to kind of like build this world of like the South in the 1930s of like what it was actually like, and like you were mentioning, like the people picking cotton, like they're no longer slaves anymore, but like they're picking cotton as a way to just earn some money, you know what I mean? And then you were talking about like, the prohibition where, drinking alcohol is illegal, and we're talking about just like people living like very conservative lives and, not really having a lot of money. Like when he goes to that that town in Mississippi, and he goes to see his I think what would be his baby moms, like the black woman that he sees that was selling like the medicines and stuff like that. They had a little bit of conflict because in that town they were using like this currency that was not valuable anywhere else. So he was like, yo, like you getting paid and all this stuff, like this ain't real money, like what are you doing? And they had that sort of conflict. But that kind of goes back to what we were saying, when you're living in like these smaller towns, you almost have like a bartering system going on. Like she may sell like the medicines and the spices and stuff like that. Then you may have somebody else that has like a farm where they selling, milk for whatever, you know, however much. And then you might have somebody over here that's selling like beef and stuff like that. And then everybody's just kind of like living off of each other.
I think it was dope they highlighted that though, showing all the, different races of people. Like actually, it wasn't just like a black community; it was blended.
Yeah, I think it was blended, but it's mostly black.
Mostly
people
black.
Yeah, it was like you had the Asian people in there. They was helping them get the fish and stuff like that. But yeah, I just thought that was like a learning experience for me.
They helped them get that sign and
the sign too. The wife was the one that did the sign. And then but yeah, just that like I think also like some of the like the one thing that stuck out to me was like between Stack and Smoke was the color palettes. Let me see. I forget which one is which, but it doesn't say. I can't see it. But one of the brothers was wearing like the red, kind of like the red suit, and the other one was wearing like the blue suit. And then you could kind of see how they were kind of dressed in comparison to everybody else. Like they were kind of like, coming from Chicago, probably having some of that illegal money. Yeah. And then they came back and they were like all suited and had the hat on and everything like that. And then, coming back in comparison to everybody else in the South who was wearing like very like darker, like just very more neutral colors and stuff like that. And, like you mentioned that theme of sin. In the theme of sin, I think it kind of played a huge part of the movie, but in different ways. Like one of the biggest things, especially me going to church, one of the biggest conversation like with people growing up in the church is that relationship between church and like the secular world. Because growing up in church, you have like a lot of talented creatives, like dancers and singers and authors and even like, people like Tyler Perry, who's like a playwright and stuff like that. You have all these people, but there's like this interesting relationship between like doing it for the Lord and doing it in the name of the Lord and then doing it for like the world. So when you have the preacher boy who's like this super talented blues musician who like, plays in the church, but he tells his dad like, yo, I'm about to go do my thing. Like, I don't see myself just playing in the church only. Like I want to go out and, play at these clubs and things like that. And that kind of divide, like I know a person personally who's like a music producer and they've produced for like Mozzie and different and YG and stuff like that. And their parents don't necessarily like the fact that they're making like secular music. They want them to be doing that for the Lord. But like, I don't know, it's one of those things for me, even where I see it and I'm like, I don't think, in my mind at least, I think you can do like worldly things, but I think you could still like, I don't think it's necessarily like look bad on in God's eyes. Yeah. So I think there's a world where you can do both.
I don't think any of us are just in our perfect walk. Mm-hmm. Nobody is. I don't think we're in no space to really judge like that, because most of the people going to church, they got families, they had them kids before they got married. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So right. I think we pick and choose what we will chastise people for. But I'll say this, man. The theme of sin was strong. There's so many things you got to pick up on if you miss them. The young lady at the train station, there was a black woman, and he said he was basically trying to say, preacher boy was trying to basically pick up on her, and she says, I'm married. And he said, are you happily married? And she's like, bye. And she walks off. Mm-hmm. But then she later makes an appearance to the juke joint without her husband. Mm-hmm. right? And then also the Haley's role, she was also married, but she was obviously white passing, but she was married to a white man, and Smoke was the one messing with her, right? Mm-hmm. Smoke told her he didn't want her around because he was trying to protect her. Mm-hmm. Because if she got busted being around a black man in that time, the Klan would have killed her. Mm-hmm. So he didn't want her around, and he loved her, but he couldn't be with her. Mm-hmm. And that was her problem. She wanted to be with him, but he couldn't be with her. Mm-hmm. But she was also married. So you have two women who are married committing, like, what is that considered, like adultery, basically?
Yeah.
So that's another sin. And then you got freaking... there's a part in there with Preacher Boy. They should just change the movie name to Eaters. Preacher Boy was with the married woman.
Yeah.
And he was like, she was like, he was about to go down on her, and she was like, "Oh no, I walked over here. At least let me clean up." And like, I just want to taste it.
I just want to taste it.
Yeah. And the people in the theater was like, "Dang." Preacher Boy was an eater.
Yeah. He's a munch.
He's like, I just won't get a little taste of it. Can you imagine funny. Talking like that? I'm gonna pull that move next time. She was like, I don't know what to say to you, ma'am. I just would love you to give me a little good taste of it. I'd love to give me a little piece of pussy.
That's funny, man.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. Yeah, if you said that right before you give her some head, you'd be like, "Oh nah, oh there you go. I just want to get a little taste of it." But I ain't wiped it up or nothing now. Somebody had a picture of Preacher Boy with that scene. They like screenshot it.
Yeah.
And then it said the caption said, "If I send you this, I just want to taste it."
Yeah. I seen that same one, but it was like I forget. It was like she says, and then like me or something like that. And then she said like, "Oh, I just got out of the gym. Like, let me go clean up for a little bit," or something like that. And then it was like me. And then it was the black dude just standing there with his guitar like, I just want to taste it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things we talked about, obviously like the adultery or the kind of the lust that is definitely like super prevalent in the movie. Because like you said, both of those women were married, and they both showed up to the juke joint ready to get piped down. But another thing is like the alcoholism. Like when I can't delineate which one is which. Isn't Smoke is the one that is wearing blue, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll figure it out later. But if Smoke is wearing blue and Stack is wearing whatever one, I think it was Smoke is the one that went with his cousin
to the train station.
Yeah. So that's Smoke. So you got Smoke who goes over there and he's recruiting, the musician or whatever.
Boris Cujo's character?
Boris Cujo?
Is it something Cujo?
No, it's not Boris Kojo. Boris Kojo is that light skinned dude. The like sex symbol kind of guy.
I'm tripping. I forgot the other dude's the older black man. Damn.
Yeah, I forget his name. But either way, he goes over there and the guy's like playing his music and he's trying to convince him like, "Hey, come over there to this juke joint. Like play we'll pay you X amount of dollars." And he's like, "Nah, I got a good thing going."
Delroy Lindo.
Delroy Lindo. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "I got a good thing going. Like, leave me alone. Your juke joint might not be around for however long, right?" And then they go back and forth, and eventually he pull out that Irish beer, and he changes his whole tune, and he cracked that open, and then that was the thing that got him to to come over to play in the club with them. So just that drunkard, or just that that's like another element of that theme of sin that they point to. What did you think? That there was some, not a lot of people, but there were some people. I was listening to Brilliant Idiots, and Taylor was mentioning how like the idea of vampires kind of took her out of the movie. Like, she just thought that was like just a wild element to the movie. Like she probably think it would have done without it. Like, what did you think about the idea of it being like supernatural in that way, having vampires?
I thought it was important because the vampires didn't really represent vampires. They represented symbolism. Mm-hmm. There was a subliminal messaging behind the vampires, and the vampires were allowed in. So basically, the juke joint was a symbol for black culture, right? This is what people don't get. They watched it. It's the movie can mean multiple things to multiple people, but I think this is what it meant. It meant basically that juke joint was something special that, black people had created. Mm-hmm. And the vampires wanted to get in, but we had to allow them in. So it's basically symbolism for having their space infiltrated. Yeah. Right? And it goes hand in hand. And if you don't think that that's part of the movie, then you just don't understand it from a historical context. Mm-hmm. Also, like having the Klan in the movie and painting them as a violent group was also important, which is outside of that.
It's almost like black propaganda, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to think, like, when we're talking about the original Birth of a Nation, when you have, I forget his name, but when you have that movie and they're painting black people to look like illiterate and stupid and violent and sexual deviants and all these things, right, we're almost like flipping that on them, but in more of a extremely realistic version of
right,
that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it could be black propaganda, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I think it's black propaganda that's more historically accurate.
For sure.
So the vampires represented that, and then also, what else did I take from that? Oh my goodness, it's just missed. We should have did this shit fresh off of watching the film, because I've watched so much other shit. Yeah, but yeah, the vampires were necessary to push that message. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you take the vampires out, you take the gory part out of it, then you kind of shortchange the movie. Mm-hmm.
But I think the vampires, like you said, the symbolism of it, but just like the blood sucking element of it, right? Yeah. When you think about we're talking about like culture vultures and them trying to infiltrate our music that we created from the depths of our soul and stuff like that, and then that nature of the first time we see the vampire when they go into that house, and then he's like basically the Indians try to warn him, and then he runs into the house, and then next thing you know, he's like sucking on the dude's neck.
She ran into the room. Her husband was getting the neck sucked on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when we see the vampire sucking on her husband's neck, that's like the first time we see that. But that's kind of like how these people are like infiltrating our culture. You're talking about like record executives. You're talking about like
politicians.
Politicians. You're talking about even sports. How you got a guy like Michael Jordan who's and obviously the finances and stuff were different back then, but he's like the person that revived the NBA. You know what I mean? Guys like Magic Johnson, like these are, they're like their worth is like $1 billion, but they're probably getting paid annually like $10 million back in, the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. So just going like, what I'm saying, like these are, not to get too like racially divided in the situation, but I think there was a lot of like alluding to like how these white people are coming in and they're like trying to steal music and culture and things like that. And I think he did it in a way that was like just like indirect enough to where it doesn't offend anybody, but he did it in a creative, artistic way when you're showing like the music and how it translated to like crip walking and hyphy movement and all this other stuff, and then you show these like Irish people that are vampires and trying to come into our juke joint, like let us have some fun, man, without y'all trying to come in here and trying to monetize and trying to take from what we got. So I think that was like a very important like scenario in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I just think that one thing is how do I put this? I think that if you have opened a book and looked outside of just basic American propaganda, and you're pretty well read of scenarios in that time frame and how it was for people of color, then you could watch the movie with you watch the movie through a different like lens. Mm-hmm. Like your vantage point is a little bit different when you do that. Some people say it's just a movie about vampires. It's not that deep. It's like, that's because you're not that deep. And I'm not even trying to like, be one of those people. But the movie was written that way on purpose. It's just, it's no different than one of those. It's like, what was that movie that what's his name? Freaking Jordan Peele he wrote a while back with where there was two different worlds they were living at the same time.
Oh, Us.
Us, right? That this was like a movie not just like Us, but kind of like it, because there was a lot of subliminal messaging within the film.
Yeah,
and Us was more. That movie was more about classism, right? And this one is more about like Black history from a historical standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think you don't have to look into the movie that deeply to enjoy it.
Right.
I just think that it's different for us. I think whatever you are, if you're like a person that's Hispanic or you're a person that's Polynesian or whatever, you all have your films that you watch them differently because they're directed to your culture. Whether it's a movie like Moana or or it's a movie like The Joy Luck Club, or it's a movie like whatever, you watch those movies differently because you're Mexican or because you're Black or because you're Italian or whatever you are.
Right.
This is how that movie is for us as Black people.
Like a Godfather. I think if you from New York and you Italian, you probably looking at that movie like, yo, because they put so much culture in the Godfather, from the weddings to the food that they eat, from the mafia, elements to it all. So I think if you're from, that, and then like you said, on the surface, I mean, like, just in general, you could still appreciate the movie even if you're not Italian, because you're like, yo, this is just great cinema. So same thing for Sinners. Like, if you're Black and you're from, anywhere in America, and you watch that movie, you can appreciate it from, from a different vantage point. But then, just on if you're not Black, you could just watch it and be like, this is just great cinema. One thing I will say, and one of the last things that I have to say about the movie is when I watched it. So when I watched Black Panther, I thought Black Panther was really funny. Like, it was a lot of like timely jokes in there that I guess they were talking about how Ryan Coogler had met up with Donald Glover and his brother, and they just kind of like, he let them read the script, and then they sent him some notes and maybe like punched up jokes or something like that. So I don't know if that, like, how accurate that was or how much was in there before they came around, but that was just a thing that, both sides had said that they, that they met and talked about the movie script. And then the next Black Panther came out, and to me, it just didn't have that charisma that the first Black Panther had. It didn't have those character defining lines that I thought the first Black Panther had. And I understand that it was a difficult job because Chadwick Boseman died in the process of them making that movie. So I thought it was a great film for the situation, like, him kind of, obviously losing his main actor. But I thought that Sinners was like hilarious, like not in a way where it was like slapstick comedy, right, but just like those those funny, like just funny bits in terms of like probably something that, like, I think like we were just talking about how it can be very specific to like Black people, right? So even that moment where, he pulled out the Irish beer, and then the pianist, he like changes his whole tune, stuff like that you're talking about with like she talking about like I'm not really clean down there, like don't do it, and he like he not worried about it. Like, those things are like extremely happy. Or even when like Cornbread, he's a vampire, and she like, you big as hell, like why you never ask for permission, you the biggest one in here, why you ask, so just those type of things I thought were like really like very culturally specific, like humorous moments. So I think he did a great job overall. I think it was like visually stunning. I think the script was really well put together. Even what Michael B. Jordan was able to do with his acting, like playing twins, but that were like distinctly twins, but distinctly like two different people, just the way they carried themselves. You know, one twin obviously being a little bit more loose, one being a little bit more put together and well orchestrated and thoughtful. Just being able to pull that off in the same movie was I thought was really dope. And just the cast in general and the music from Ludwig Göransson, obviously the direction and the cinematography, the whole aesthetic of the movie, and then some of like the actors that we knew. You know how you see these actors in like you see I forget the big cornbread guy. He's in like ATL and like is he? No, not in ATL. He's in
8 Mile. No,
I think he's in 8. Is he?
He might have been 8 Mile.
I don't know, but he's just one of those guys that you see in different movies. And you're like, oh, okay, I remember him. And like those kind of guys, they just came ready to work. You know, they came and they did an amazing job as a cast. And I thought just overall, like, definitely worth the money. I want to go see it.
8 Mile.
Yeah. So I want to go see it again. I want to go see it. I want to see it in IMAX though, like, in that big screen. So that's one of the things that I want to do again. But yeah, shout out to Ryan Coogler. If you haven't seen Sinners, make sure you go check that out. Form your own opinion about it. And, a lot of times when you see a movie, just your life experience and stuff makes you see it in a totally different way. So, yeah, go check it out and form your own opinion about it.
Yeah, man. That's all I got. I'm still looking at some of the cast members. The Asian woman in the movie, she did a great job too. Her name is Lee Junyi Lee. You
know what I would be curious to know? Like, I haven't heard from the Asian guy or the girl outside of that movie, but I want to know how they actually sound, because they sounded like they was really from the South.
They did.
Like they didn't have a Asian sort of twang. They just sounded like they was raised in Mississippi.
Especially Haley did a great fucking job. Great job. Especially for her to be just, she's white obviously, but damn.
Yeah.
I guess she did speak on having black ancestry though.
Yeah, her grandfather was mixed. He was like Filipino and black.
So. Oh, okay. So there's something there.
I know Josh Allen I think Josh Allen might be kind of like keeping an eye on her though.
I don't know. I don't think she did. Did she do anything that bad?
Nah, but she be looking at, like, on the press tour, the way she be looking at Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan was behind the scenes like, I just want to taste it. That nigga turned into Preacher Boy like a motherfucker.
Oh, dang.
Oh, man.
You sure you married?
Oh, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You imagine how many a girl will call the police on you. You be like at a club like, hey, how you doing? My name is Jeremy. My name is Jessica. I just want to taste it. You're like, what? You want to do what to me?
Oh, you ain't seen Sinners?
I was just trying to be funny.
That's crazy.
They need to change the name of that movie to Dinners. That'd probably be like the big back version or the pussy version.
Yeah, there's definitely like a porno that's like you could definitely like attack. You know how they do like the
spoof
porno?
version?
Yeah, the spoof version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of like Wesley Snipes, it's like Wesley Pipes.
Yeah.
Or it'd be like instead of Sinners, it'd be Eaters.
Michael D. Jordan.
Michael D. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Haley Bangfield.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right. Shout out to them, man. Great film.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get out of here, man. If you guys made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.